of the Commonwealth of Nations has called on the government of Cameroon to include youths in the decision-making circles and on the Anglophone crisis. Patricia Scotland maintained that dialogue should be given pride of place. In the second part of this newscast that is going to be tonight, we are going to be looking at how significant a visit to the country is. That is our lone headline for tonight. Stay with us. We shall be right back. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. Patricia Scotland, the scribe of the Commonwealth of Nations, continued her maiden working visit to Cameroon. This Wednesday in the morning, she visited the head office of the African Synergy Against HIV and AIDS and Sufferings, including the First Lady's Health Foundation, and at the National Museum. Later this afternoon, she equally met with officials of some of the biggest institutions that are benefiting from the largesse of the Commonwealth of Nations. They are EQUINOXE, that is the National Anti-Corruption Commission, the Elections Governing Body, ELECAM, the National Governance Program, and the National Commission on Human Rights and Freedoms. And the Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations yesterday added her voice to those of the national and international institutions, civil society organizations and opposition leaders to call for dialogue as the way out of the socio-political tension rocking the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. After meeting the Minister of External Relations, she proceeded to hold talks with the head of state. That was yesterday at the Unity Palace. Our reporter EQUINOXE tells us more in the following report.
Patricia Scotland, Secretary General of the Commonwealth in Cameroon, received a warm welcome Tuesday from top government officials headed by President Paul Biya at the Unity Palace. Nothing filtered out of discussions between both personalities. It was only during a state lunch offered by the presidential couple to Patricia Scotland that first public exchanges spilled out with the Anglophone crisis inclusive. Paul Biya reiterated in his speech his willingness to dialogue as well as re-establish order in Cameroon and infringe suspects of assassinations of Cameroonians and security forces. On the other hand, the Commonwealth Secretary General exhorted Cameroonians to uphold the virtues of peace, unity, and in all, give dialogue a place of pride. At the Yaoundé Conference Center, Patricia Scotland held talks with Senate presidents and meet parliamentarians of distinct political parties.
Well, it was a very great opportunity to talk to the President and to the Senators to see how many things we have in common. I shared with the Senator that I have just created the Office of Civil and Criminal Justice Reform so that we can look at all our laws, making sure we have fairness and opportunity. And all our member states, all 52, including Cameroon, are contributing to this office. And I'm sure this is just the beginning of an even closer relationship. And I'm so pleased and proud that I had an opportunity to speak to the senators in person. And that always makes a difference.
She ended her talks with the President of the National Assembly. A cultural evening was organized for her entertainment.
And at the Unity Palace yesterday, the President, during the state launch with the Commonwealth Secretary General, acknowledged the significant role of the Commonwealth of Nations in shaping the country's policies in terms of good governance, democracy, and the respect of human rights and freedoms. President Paul Biya appreciated the efforts of the Gentlemen's Club. The head of state disclosed to his guests measures taken so far to resolve the Anglophone crisis. He, however, regretted that civilians and security forces have lost their lives due to attacks from what he calls secessionist fighters. The President of the Republic said that the drive towards attaining economic emergence by 2035 would not be hampered by terrorist activities. President Paul Biya reiterated with authority authorities' readiness to restore order in Cameroon and punish those who are guilty of claiming the lives of defense forces in the two Anglophone regions of the country. President Paul Biya talked about adopting relentless efforts from the Commonwealth of Nations that can strengthen national unity. And just to note that the visit of the Commonwealth scribe in Cameroon is expected to end tomorrow. In the nation's capital, she is expected to meet with actors of the civil society, opposition leaders, after which there would be a press conference. The second semester conference of the 10 regional governors is expected to end today in the nation's capital. Today's closing ceremony would see the adoption of measures to foster peace and security in Cameroon, especially during this end-of-year period, and particularly in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. Focus of the conference that started Monday was on security issues and facilitating free mobility of persons and goods in the Semak sub-region. It was an opportunity for the Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization, Minister Rene Manuel Sadi, who is actually chairing the second semester conference of governors in Cameroon, to call on the need for peace to be restored in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, and that everything is going on as planned in the Anglophone regions of the country. We now take you to the University of Buea to talk about the graduation ceremony of about 5,700 students of the said institution. The Pro-Chancellor of the University of Buea, Professor Ako Edward Oben, called on the graduates of the said institutions to be ambassadors of the University of Buea wherever they find themselves. It was during the graduation ceremony that took place yesterday on the campus of the University of Buea. The ceremony that was heavily attended by security forces, as well as those who were graduating for the 2015, 2016, 2016 and 2017 batches. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea, Professor Horace Ngomo Manga, expressed satisfactions in the number of the rich minds his institution has so far released to the job market. Let's now have an excerpt of the Pro-Chancellor of the University of Buea. He was speaking yesterday to Derek Jato.
The two batches, I think the various speeches would already underline that. And it is that the University of Buea and the entire university community expects these two batches to be the ambassadors of the University of Buea. Wherever they find themselves, let them make known the UB brand. Let it become clear, or there should be a confirmation of the fact that the University of Buea trains tomorrow's leaders.
That is the Pro-Chancellor who presided over the graduation ceremony yesterday, and in the University of Bamenda, it graduated 7,000 degree and Masters of Technology holders for the year 2015-2016, two batches to be more precise, that is 2015-2016 and that of 2016 to 2017. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Teresia Nko Ekenji, admitted that the socio-political crisis that is rocking the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon explains why the convocation ceremony in the University of Bamenda did not take place last year in 2016. The students were told to preserve the image of the said institution. We now talk about something else. A young lady has died at the Deuxième Pont neighborhood after she was electrocuted. The 19-year-old reports say was about to put her phone on charge when the incident occurred. Our reporter Simanji Kankedo tells us more in the following story.
A young lady aged 19 years old is no more. Falmon, as we're told, was working as a house help at a lady's residence before the incident occurred. According to Falmon's sister, The lady her kid sister was working for had been very irregular with her sister's salary in recent times, and they were hoping to stop her immediately her salary for the month comes out. Unfortunately, the same day both had a discussion happened to be the last day, as the elder sister will only get the news of her kid sister's death. Falmon, we were told, was electrocuted as she wanted to put her phone on charge, something which her family debunks, owing that she left the house very sound health-wise. Falmon left behind two children, one who is just 10 months old and another 3 months old.
And on to something else, we talk about rising insecurity in the city of Douala. A young man who is allegedly terrorizing inhabitants of the Mbanga Bakoko neighborhood fell into the dragnet of security officials. The 29-year-old was caught after he attacked the daughter of a security officer. He was presented to the press at the judicial place in Bonanjo. Today's Manjikan Gabriel once again has the details.
He is called Njuji Ngefak Michael. The 29-year-old lass is the latest to have fallen into the dragnet of the elements at the judicial police station in Bonanjo. Ngefak Michael, according to police officers, had been a bad influence to the inhabitants at the Mbanga Bakoko neighborhood. The young man, before he was arrested recently, had 2 counts against him. He was accused of attacking a prison officer and making away with his professional cards, which he used to harass citizens of the Mbanga Bakoko neighborhood. He also attacked the daughter of a military officer. It was after this last operation that he was caught. Michael was aided in his operations by a pistol alongside these bullets. He was later taken to court before transferred to his new residence at the New Bell prison.
And some 52 students from the Gulffield Institute of Petroleum, Mining and Management Science based in Limbe, Southwest region, were to be traveling to Europe for their master programs. The director of the said institution, Mr. Kumasi Simon, said that the government is facilitating the entire visa process, as we hear in the following report with David Simaimo.
52 in numbers, they are students from the Gulffield University Institute of Petroleum Mining and Management Sciences based in Limbe. These students, after 2 years of intensive studies in both theory and practical, are leaving the country to Ukraine, Malaysia and other European countries, where they are to continue with their master programs in their various fields of competence.
I'm the president of the students traveling to Malaysia. I do petrochemical engineering. It's my first time of traveling. So this is a good opportunity that this school has offered to us. But for me, my specialty is electrical engineering. And I see this as a good opportunity to become what I desire to be in the future.
My name is Mumun Kimil Lemri. I'm a student of petroleum engineering. I'm going to study in University of Technology, Malaysia. I'm very contented, I'm very happy, I'm very privileged to go in there, and I wish by God's grace I will have many other people to go into this program.
According to the director of this institute, Kumasi Simon Poe, it has not been easy consolidating the admission of these students in the countries they are traveling to.
Why are they going now? The road was not easy. But we'll find it.
Nonetheless, the success of their mission in European countries for their master program is all thanks to the assistance from the Cameroon government.
We have such leaders who care about the youth, who care about the future of the youth, who care about the education of the youth.
Having it at the back of their minds, that Cameroon is hiring more skilled labor in their field of studies. The students are poised with determination more than ever before to come replace foreigners in their field of work upon graduation.
We have so many engineers in petrochemical department, and for us to make this sector, to encourage it to grow, we need to come out and help the government, because if you look at companies here, they are being funded by the whites, and it doesn't encourage us. So after our studies out there, for us, I would love to come back to work in my country as a Cameroonian, because I love my nation.
After the studies, I'm trying to prove to many of the ladies out there that it's an easy field and they can do it. Return to Cameroon. I love my country. It's a beautiful place, it's a wonderful place. There's a lot of peace here, there's joy here.
The Senate ceremony was one filled with joy and happiness as the students sing and thank God for admission procured. It is the fourth batch of Gulffield University Institute of Petroleum, Mining and Management Sciences is sending out to Europe for master's program.
And works at the logistic base of the African Union Force is 90% gone. The information was made public today in the city of Douala as the Minister for Defense, Joseph Betia Somo, was paying an inspection visit to the site today. The African Union base, according to officials of the National Defense Force, would be inaugurated on the 5th of January 2018. The minister was there present at the inspection, or during the visit, indicated that the project is about 90% gone. And that brings us to the end of this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. We shall be right back. Tonight, we continue to talk about the visiting Commonwealth scribe in the nation's capital. She's supposed to be in Cameroon for 5 days. Our guest tonight is a political analyst, Mr. Aku John Aku. Mr. Aku John, good evening to you.
Good evening, Mimi.
Obviously, you have been following a series of happenings ever since the Commonwealth Secretary General arrived to Cameroon. Patricia Scotland met yesterday with the President of the Republic. Before we come back to her declarations and that of the head of state, she was expected to visit the Southwest Regional headquarters of Boya, precisely the university, according to reports. But for security reasons, allegedly, she could not go there. Can we say that that could possibly be the only reason why she could not go to the University of Boya?
Yeah, I don't want to imagine that it was based on security reasons, because the government has always been giving us assurances that the two regions are doing well, and bet for one or two other issues. I want to equally believe that it is not because of insecurity, and we are just failing to respect the rules of this nation. You remember that if Cameroon is having a relationship with the Commonwealth, it is having that relationship because of these two regions, the Northwest and the Southwest regions. Before Patricia Scotland arrived Cameroon, a program was made known that she was to visit the Northwest and the Southwest region, then participate at the University of Boya graduation ceremony. But this is not what was done. The government totally and vehemently might have been refusing from keeping away certain facts and allowing these facts to stay within the borders of Cameroon, never wanting this particular individual, which is a top official of the Commonwealth of Nations Association, to have an eyewitness of itself. If we are proud of what we are doing in the field, if the state is proud of the message she has been sending around, there is no problem, there is no issue. There was even a need to allow her to have a testimony of itself.
Is that not revealing of the unstable nature of these regions that you're talking about?
It will equally mean that the government is coming to confirm that nothing is going right. Nothing is going right. This is the reason this particular individual, who is here for the same reasons, I will tell you, if Patricia Scotland is coming to Cameroon, it's coming because of the English language present in Cameroon. It's not coming because of Yaoundé. It is coming because of the English people based in this country. And when such top officials are now avoided from visiting the area that makes this part of the country a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, there is a problem. I have said several times, we need to be sincere to tell her that we don't want you to see the mess we have created in the field. We don't want you to witness what we have seen, because you can imagine there is a lot of tension, and the government knows very well. I don't want to say they are not managing it, But I believe the option is a wrong option.
Talking about the common law values, you talked about the language.
Yes.
It represented in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. We have human rights. We have the language, as you earlier indicated. Are they being respected in Cameroon?
There is a problem.
As the scribe is visiting the
Yeah,
country.
she is visiting. Remember, I believe some time ago, the members of whatsoever we call the Anglophone Secessionist Group equally made an opinion, an appeal to visit the Queen, to talk with the Queen of England. What Cameroonians fail to know is that during this letter written by the group of these Anglophone Cameroonians, the Queen referred them to the British Foreign Secretary and to the Secretary of the Commonwealth. And so I believe, within the strongest of my opinion, that Patricia Scotland came to Cameroon with the intention to take first-class report for himself and, if at all, witness what is going on in the field. But what has the government done? The government has not done what they used to do, or they have not done anything new from what they have been doing, is to carry diplomats, launch them in beautiful hotels, launch them in safe environment, give them and tell Cameroon is heaven. This is what we have just seen. And that her visit, made to be for 5 days, has been streamlined to 3 days based in Yaoundé. We are doubting if this is the option why this lady came to Cameroon to dine and drink wine or Scotch whiskey within the corridors of the Tudi Palace or within the corridors of the Prime Minister's office.
The opposition leaders and the actors of the civil society that are expected to meet her might bring some of these problems to the table.
I can't be in a country like Cameroon where I was sent to conclude a mission and I still live on getting such information through a second hand.
So
there was a need.
To get the information
That is the plan. That was the plan
important.
From the office of the Secretary General of the Commonwealth to witness the situation by herself so that she can have a better story to tell. Because whatsoever it will sound that her meeting with the civil society organizations tomorrow, you will see the government also coming out later to tell the very international community that information has been cooked up, information has been mounted. Nothing of that nature exists in Cameroon. Cameroon is a peaceful nation. Cameroon is a step.
Or, of course, those who will be constituting the civil society actors and the opposition leaders that will be meeting her tomorrow. Now, on the declarations of the scribe of the Commonwealth of Nations, she talked about the need for youths to be included in the decision-making circles in Cameroon. She talked about the need for dialogue as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. What do you have to say about her declarations?
The first declaration, this is the declaration made by the European Union just following the ended meeting in Abidjan on African Union AU Summit, which identified youth exodus or the willingness of the youth to leave the African continent because of lack of what a political agenda for the youth. Remember, sometime also, I believe, on the same channel, on talking on the CPDM 35 years in power, I said the problem in Cameroon today, when I see the Cameroonian youths, I see them at the mercy of heaven, where we accept that 60% of the population that makes up a country like ours are youths between the age of 20 right up to 40. But when you look at the political agenda, when you look at the composition of those whom we call the government, the average age for governance, those who call them ministers, or how can I put them, the average age is 75. And you see people at 75 making laws and rules or managing for the purpose of those who are age 40. What options? What is the present economic movement? Do they have the materials at hand to handle present day issues? Those who were in school more than 70 years ago to manage economic problems of present generation, I will tell you it is a lie. Because a child who presently depends on the computer to have all his information, it was not the same situation in the past, and we cannot even know the value of a computer. Today, a father that was not present when a telephone, a smartphone was discovered, and the various options the same telephone offers, and the opportunity, we hardly see the need for a child to hold a computer or to hold a smartphone. I'm telling you that there is a quite frustration by the Cameroonian youth on the part of governance. One of the aspects of governance which I've said in Cameroon we need to see, I have been calling on the youths that the youths, if they are unable to get their parents or their old age outdated adult, put them on the economic agenda, in some countries the youths take power by force. And you should know that dominance in another region, we said power can never be given. Power is acquired or it is earned. If so, the Cameroonian youth have been called upon in recent times to take actions and gain the country for themselves. And I believe if you see it, you will imagine that in many countries throughout the world, if I can remember very well, J.F. Kennedy, the former one-time U.S. president, said in every country throughout the world, the youths have always known to create an impact. Any country that tends to bury its youths, then buries the life of that nation.
So to you, it's not a similar situation in Cameroon?
It is not like similar. That is what it is. It is difficult in the government of today to call a youth who is a minister in Cameroon with age less than 50. Most of them, in the name of ministers, have at least 65 on their birth certificate. Yes, this is what we are saying. Yes. We need to have confidence within ourselves. We need to have confidence that the Cameroon of today, the youths of today, are not the ones of yesterday, and that there are things they can do, and they will do it perfectly well, now, as if they have lived a century ago.
On the call for dialogue, it's not the first time. Many are thinking that Patricia Scotland was supposed to go beyond that. Do you have a similar? Do you share a similar view? Because it's not the first time we're hearing about dialogue, inclusive dialogue, genuine dialogue as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned.
I was even embarrassed why Patricia Scotland should be making mention of dialogue, which had been called several times. The UN Secretary General made mention of it. The Francophonie organization called for it. The African Union has called for dialogue. It is not the first time. But you know, we just finished saying something. These people we have in the name of government are too old and aging that their memory doesn't reason and cannot fit the realities of the present Cameroonian situation. Nobody has ever learned to know that nothing can we handle by war. Nothing. Arms have never been used to handle any war in the world. I will tell you of the FARC rebel crisis in Colombia, which the president of that nation, Emmanuel dos Santos, has just gained a Nobel Peace Prize of giving dialogue a chance rather than arms. I mean, solving a crisis.
The president says the Bilingualism Commission is there to restore.
It is not bilingualism. This is why I still fail.
That is what he said yesterday.
Cameroonians have failed to reason that if we need a stadium, we need a road that will take us to that stadium. If the teachers were out, lawyers were out, these are not the lone problems suffered by Cameroonians. And I'm telling you, when we have major causes, there are always also some remote causes. Cameroonians have made mention of the system of governance, and that the form of governance is not what they don't like. And they accept very well. Every government, every Cameroonian accept that what the Anglophones are suffering are basic Cameroonian problems. Why can the government not solve a Cameroonian problem rather than looking for other grounds to resolve personal issues?
Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time. It's always a pleasure having you. To our televiewers, so thank you as well for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Until we meet again, goodbye.